What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Exclusive Chat and Studio Track. I'm your host, Ecast, the producer, and this is episode 13. We on a roll this week, man. I can't believe it. Thank you for everybody that's been supporting the YouTube channel and subscribing and leaving your comments and appreciating all the artists that are coming from the 831 area and beyond. And today, once again, I always say this, but every invitation is special. So our guest today, I'm gonna give you guys a hype intro. Like I try to do this all the time. So listen up. He said, from heartbreaks to heritage, resilience to rhythm, this artist does not just rap, he reflects. Born in Seaside, raised by soul, and sharpened by struggle, his music reads like pages from a journal, gritty, honest, and rooted in legacy. With every line, he carries the weight of his culture, the pulse of the 90s, and a hunger too loud to silence. The next chapter begins now. Welcome to the world of RUBIO. What's up, my guy?
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction.
Nah, for sure, man. Welcome to Ecast, man. How you feeling?
I'm feeling excited. Like I was telling you before, like it's so different to be here now than like seeing it from like Instagram.
Yeah.
But to be here in this environment feels very welcoming. And so, yeah, I'm excited to get started and answer any questions you have or anybody.
That's what's up. Have you been to a podcast before?
Yeah, I've been to a couple of podcasts before. I even started my own for a while.
Oh, that's
for
cool.
A short period
That's
of time.
cool.
Very low key. And yeah, so to be back in a space where I could speak about my music is something that I'm very looking forward to because I feel like since I've been working a lot on music and not kind of like keeping up with like social media or just putting myself out there, keeping like people with me in that journey, I feel like now it's like the time to catch up and see what I've been doing throughout this time.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I've been watching you for a minute now. It's the grind never stops. And I see that you actually kind of handle some photography and video too, huh?
Yeah. So I feel like one thing as an independent artist that a lot of people can really understand is that you gotta have to be everything.
Yeah.
You have to be your photographer, your videographer, your engineer,
for real,
your producer. Like you gotta do a lot of things for yourself.
Yeah, man.
And so at times it can get overwhelming, but you also pick up these new habits that you never thought you could do. Like I never thought I could be a photographer or a videographer, but now I'm like directing, I'm sketching out ideas and like how I want to look and stuff like that. And so it's feeding into that creativity that you already have with music, but now into other aspects of it.
That's a fact. That's a fact, man. So, bro, let's dive in, man. Tell everybody who is RUBIO in your early life, man.
I think it's definitely well said in my song called All My Life. I released it in November. That definitely shows who I was then as a kid, kind of being this kid who was trying to figure out what he's supposed to do with his life. Because for a while, like growing up, I didn't know what I was supposed to do. Like my parents were like, oh, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be a dentist, you're going to be someone. But I was like, who do I truly want to be and where do I really fit? Because when it came to school, I was really bad at it. Like I just kept finding myself like being distracted from other things. Like I would draw in class. And at the time, I didn't think much of it. But looking back at it in retrospect, I see that was just my creativity, like wanting to like do something that instead of just listening, taking it in, like I wanted to create. Like since a kid, I felt like I've always had that in me. But, you know, school kind of is like, no, like you got to pay attention and do this and do that. And so that's one area that I felt like I just wasn't really good at, was just sitting down, listening to someone lecture me about what I should know. Another thing was like sports, because I was very chubby growing up. So it'd be really hard for me to like keep up with the kids. And so I felt like sports, I couldn't really do that either. So I was kind of like finding myself in an area where I'm like, I don't know what to do. But as I got older, music became something that really stuck out to me. A movie that, because I used to watch a lot of movies as a kid. So a movie that really like inspired me was La Bamba.
Oh, Richie Valens.
Yes. And the story is so inspirational because here's someone who came from nothing and became something at the age of 16. And
Wow.
so I got into his music when I was like in middle school, like 12, 13. And I picked up a guitar.
Okay.
And I kind of felt like it was a phase because then I ended up like not giving it away, but kind of putting it away in my
Aside.
closet. And so I think once I got into high school, that's when I think I got into hip hop because
Okay.
growing up, my brother would play like Tupac, a lot of 90 hip hop in the background. But I didn't really like listen to it. But as I got older, those songs started becoming like, I was like, dang, like Tupac sounds good.
Yeah,
And
you
so,
kick it.
and then a lot of people in my group were already listening to that. So I kind of just catched on to that. The only way I found out hip hop was calling to me was then my sophomore year in high school. My teacher told us about writing poems. And so poems, because I love Tupac so much, he wrote poems. Like
He
before he
did.
started rapping, he wrote poems, and he was like a poet. And so I thought, okay, like let me learn this. And I had already kind of been messing around with like rhyming and rapping on the side, but then this was my time to shine. And so I was able to present it to a class, like my poem, and I had my friend record it too. So I'll show you that some other time. But he
Okay.
recorded me. I was I think 17. I was so nervous. I don't know why, because like I memorized the whole poem, but when it came time to perform it, I forgot everything.
Bro, you
And
get
so
cold feet.
I had to improvise, like, cause like I structured it the way like I knew where I'm gonna begin and where I'm gonna end. But when I was like rapping it and performing it, I was like just going from the beginning to like the middle to the end to the back to the beginning, and I was like, man, I was all over the place. But people loved it. So that was like the one thing that made me realize, like, dang, I think this is what I'm supposed to do.
Okay.
And so that's kind of like how I got into making music.
That's so dope, man. I mean, I think life has a funny way of directing you towards what really ultimately be meaningful for you in your life. And if you actually kind of listen,
Mm-hmm.
it's like a spark, it happens, and then voila, you on the moment, Bro, tell me a little bit more about that personal journey that you've had with creating music.
Oh, for me, I knew that if I was gonna take music seriously, I was gonna need the equipment. Because when I first started, like, and I recorded my first song, back in high school, they gave us computers. I think it was like a Chromebook,
Okay.
and I used my Chromebook, and then I had like the Apple earphones that had like the mic, and I used that to record my first song.
Oh.
And honestly, like I love the hunger that I had when I was young, but dang, was it like so bad? Like listening to it, I'm like, nah, you shouldn't have released that. But I was like, wow, like he wasn't even discouraged to release that. He wanted to do it. And so that was my earliest memory of me like releasing music. And so once I figured out that like I needed to get better equipment, I asked my dad if he could help me and support me in this dream that I had. But I also was like, if you get me a computer, I'll use it for school. But I was like, I really want to use it because it's gonna get me further in my music career.
Right.
And I don't think had not done that, I don't think I'd be here, because since he bought me that computer, it was like a MacBook. It opened so many doors, and it opened like that door of music, like that path, like just became even better because I was able to like use GarageBand, and then I bought my own like audio interface and mic, and so I started learning like all these things, like how to mix and master, like because I'd go on YouTube to learn.
Yeah.
And this is like early to when there wasn't that many stuff. So
Okay.
like I was like trying to figure out, I was copying presets, or I was like looking what they put in their
And their chain.
and I'm like, I'm gonna copy that and put it exactly the same, because I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And so those are my very earliest days, and I look back at this one and I'm like amazed at how hungry I was. And I say that because there was a time period where I lost that hunger, and I was like, man, like why should I even continue if I'm not even putting the same amount of effort I did when I didn't even have everything? Because now I have a job, I can go buy all the equipment I need, but is it in me to like even continue it?
Yeah, man. I think you got to do some soul searching when it comes to pursuing arts, because arts, as great as they are, sometimes they could kind of like not disappoint you. I wouldn't say disappoint you, but challenge you in a mental way that is like, wait a second, and I really have what it takes. Am I gonna give it what it's asking for? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think you're there, man. The last your last song was My Life, right?
Yeah, All My Life.
All My Life. That song, I think you definitely pour your heart out to it. So I could feel that you are looking to just basically bust that door open right again. And you have a project coming soon. We're gonna talk a little bit about that, because funny enough, I hit my guy up yesterday. Was it yesterday?
It was like last week.
Last week. And I was like, then today you put the announcement, or no, today you put out your first video of your 31-day challenge.
Yeah.
Bro, tell me about that. Why a 31-day challenge?
Okay. So, when I first started making music, I realized that as much as I love creating, I also have to promote it. So, yeah, I can make good music, but if I'm not like getting it out or pushing it out to people that don't even know who I am, listen to it, then there's no point. Like, it's just like a lost cause. So I knew the importance of promoting music. And so if I worked on this album for so long, why would I not promote it is what I'm thinking.
Right.
And so I was still kind of conflicted on the release date, because August 1st wasn't the original like release date for that album. I was going to either do August 22nd or like September. Like, I was going to push it back even more further than what it is now. The only reason why I chose August 1st was because it landed on a Friday, and I was like, okay.
Oh.
it lands on a Friday.
New Music Friday.
And then when the week I was about to announce it, because I was like, all right, I'm going to announce on this day, this Friday, the day I announced the album was going to release. I'm going to announce it, and that's it. I can't go back. I can't delay it. I can't say it's not coming out. I'm going to release it that day, because I've been fighting on deciding if it's done or not. Because I think a lot of it is that perfectionism that I used to believe and stopped me from like releasing stuff, was like how insecure I was about my music and nervous I get. Because I really, like you said, I pour my heart out into those songs, and it's because they're my way of expressing myself. And so why I chose 31 days was because that's how many days are in the month of July.
Okay.
And so I thought it was a cool idea. I was like, 31 days, 31 videos. I was like, okay, I could do that, because that literally gives me a whole month to promote the album. Because I said I needed at least like a month in advance to release the album and to like promote it. So I have enough time now, and this 31-day challenge kind of gives me that liberty to just do one video. That's like literally, that's like the bare minimum, honestly. Like one video a day.
And it's crazy, because sometimes it's so simple now that I've kind of like walked through some paths with meeting new people and learning from them to just hit record. The other half is in you to just push it out. But you can be easily kind of like entangled in your mind, or it's like, oh no, this is not good enough. Who cares? Somebody's gonna actually be like, oh, that was dope. You know what I'm saying? Because for us, if we set ourselves into like, no, everything has to be perfect, we would never do anything. Because perfection doesn't really exist. You know what I'm saying? People like, I was telling my friend the other day, it was like, practice makes what? Perfect. No, it does not. Practice makes improvement. It makes improvement. And I actually, before that little reel came out viral of some speech saying that, I remember my mom saying that to me like back in the early 90s. So it's like, why do I put you to practice every day? She would put me an hour every day to practice my instrument, my music. And I hated it sometimes. I'm not going to lie, I really didn't even want to continue. But she kept, the more that you do it, the better you get. It's not perfection, it's improvement. And that's why we do things, man. Tell me a little bit more about your musical inspirations, bro, because I could hear kind of like some J. Cole. I can hear some Tupac. I can hear some kind of like oh my gosh, what's his name? No, I forgot his name. He's so no with a GNX
Oh,
album.
Kendrick?
Kendrick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could hear a lot of Kendrick in you too.
Mhm.
Tell me more about that musical inspiration.
So when it came to like choosing my music inspiration, like hip hop definitely played a role in that. Cause I didn't grow up just listening to hip hop. Like my mom would play like Spanish songs in the back, like the triste songs, and I'd be like,
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, actually, growing up, I hated it because she'd be playing it like on a Saturday morning. And I'm like, Mom, I'm trying to sleep in.
It's
bro.
cleanup time.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh my god. But now as you get older, you're like, man, those songs hit different.
Yeah.
Like Los Temenarios, like that was
Temenarios.
one that my mom would play a lot, and I'd be like, bruh. But now I'm like, play it. Because as I got older too, I got into like relationships, or I started chasing after girls, and like when they would break your heart, man, gosh, those songs would hit, and I'd listen to those songs. So my inspiration in the beginning was a lot of heartbreak songs.
Okay.
And that's why like Richie Valens played a huge role, because he plays like Donna, something like Donna. I know that one. And then there's We Belong Together. That one's my favorite, and still is. Like I find those are the songs that like got me into making music, because it was expressing a feeling that I couldn't say in words, or at least like it was hard for me to explain it. So let me make something out of it. Like let me make music with it. And so a lot of my songs in the beginning were about girls. Like I'll just be honest. Like a lot of them were about like heartbreak, or about the relationship, and even about me, and just about like my mental health that I didn't even know I was going through at the time. But then when I looked back at like the songs that really inspired me to like to rap and to like write better bars and like just get better with like talking about bigger things, it was like those artists you mentioned. Like Tupac was very much someone who spoke about the truth of his community and how they should improve on it. And that's like what Kendrick's doing right now. J. Cole too, you know, his ability to make songs like what's it called, Wet Dreams, like his experience with his with having sex for the first time. I just thought like, wow. And then even Nas, like someone from like the East Coast, who I think it was the song I Gave You Power, which is the perspective of a gun. I thought when artists would talk about songs bigger than like because I feel like a lot of the times people make music to like kind of have radio hits, but these artists made songs to like for you to resonate with. And that's what I wanted to do.
I like that. I like that perspective, honestly, because people think that there's a formula to just create a pop song. There really isn't a formula. I mean, there might be something that kind of like a structure, which is gonna put it into the catchy sense, you know, and that's why it's called pop music. You know, even if it's hip hop, if it has that catchiness to it, it's gonna become pop music, because pop is not just because it's that, you know, Britney Spears or freaking, I don't know, Backstreet Boys. That's not just pop. It's because it's popular. You know what I'm saying? It's something that catches you, and in the hook, basically, it's something that you want to keep on repeating. You know?
Yeah.
But that's true, because when you have music that really resonate with you, it doesn't matter. It breaks beyond popularity. It becomes a record for history. You know what I'm saying? It's something that is gonna transcend the trends.
Yeah.
You know? So I'm glad that you're putting that into perspective like that, because definitely people need more of that.
Oh yeah.
Even myself, you know what's funny? Myself as an artist, I've never wanted to really pursue being an artist like that. So at first I would just write music about love, heartbreak, and it so happened to be catchy, right? Then now you got to keep on evolving with your music. Now I'm doing more conscious rapping. I will probably throw more love stuff out there, but the message that I want to give is like, I got 2 kids. I was like, when they listen to my music, who they're going to remember as, you know, are they going to catch a breath when they listen to what I left? You know what I'm saying? Because all these music are going to stay behind, you know, they're going to be able to listen to it when I'm not around. So that's an important fact, bro. I'm glad that you're doing that, bro. So let's dig in a little bit more into your upcoming project, Seaside.
Mm-hmm.
Why Seaside?
I actually just talked about that today in the video.
You
First
did?
day, yeah. So why I chose Seaside was because it was an idea I had a long time ago when I was in high school. Because a lot of the times what I would do in school, and specifically high school, is I would just like write raps. Like while like they were teaching and I was supposed to be learning, I was like in the back, like in my journal, like coming up with rhymes, and like coming up with ideas for projects.
Yeah.
Because that's all I thought about. Like I can't stop thinking about it. Like I'm supposed to be paying attention to like math, and I'm horrible at math. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna be like,
there with
rapping,
you, bro.
Like I'm gonna just do some raps. And Seaside was an idea that I had, but I just didn't know how to execute or how it was gonna come out. Like I had like rough ideas. Like I still have these journals where I wrote all these like ideas. And that's something that I really like about myself is that I like when I start something, like I have something to look back at and be like, man, like it really just took patience, you know?
Yeah.
And so why I chose Seaside was because that's where I'm from. And a lot of these stories, a lot of these songs that you're going to be listening to on this project, all of that happened in this city. It didn't happen anywhere else. And so for me, it's also kind of like a shout out to where I'm from.
Yeah.
You know, thanking Seaside and putting it on the map because I think it's very low key. Because when people think of Seaside, they more or less think of Monterey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that's just how the Central Coast Valley is the fact that like we're very unknown because there's like it's either North Cal or South Cal.
South Cal, yeah.
And I'm like, what about Central Cal? You know,
right.
that little chunk of us right there.
Yeah.
And so we just got to start putting our stuff out there and letting it know, let the world know that we're here. Kind of like how, you know, there's not just East Coast and West Coast. There's Atlanta, there's South, there's Detroit. There's so many different styles. So let's put ours on the map.
Yeah, definitely. I can't agree with that, man. And how long does this project took you to put together?
So originally I started working on it as soon as I finished my first album. So that was in 2020 when I finished it. It was my self-titled. And I was so happy because I was like, man, like I was just fresh out of high school and I was like, I'm gonna just go straight to working music. Like I don't want to go to college. I want to just do music. And so once I was done with that, I was like, now it's time to start working on that second one. That second one was gonna be Seaside. But I knew it was going to be a step up from what I worked on previously. Because RUBIO was kind of like I was trying to get a certain type of audience to listen to my music. Like I was going out to like parties and functions, and I was trying to like put my music on the speakers so that people could listen to it and then turn up to it. And I realized then that I was like, man, I'm really just doing this so I can get people's attention and kind of also get their validation when really I don't need that. Like I should have known that it should be mine and not for others. So with this upcoming one, I was like, I'm going to work harder on that now. Like I'm going to dig into that. To me, that meant going back to the roots. So that meant going all the way back to like what inspired me, which was 90 hip hop. And so I started creating these beats and I started like writing to new rhymes. And I would tell you that it should have been done by 2022, which it was, but things started happening in my personal life that kind of delayed that process. And I would say by 2023, the whole music idea was starting to fade away because I was just like, man, like I'm so busy with work and like all these other stuff that are like bothering me that like music is like the last thing I want to think about, especially because like I told myself there was a time frame to like post it, and it was within 2 years, and I missed that, and I felt like it was kind of like a bust that, or the opportunity to do that was gone now, and that I can't do it anymore. But then, by 2024, I was given like a second chance because now I have a job that I really love doing, and it's giving me like the money to fund like the album. And which it did. Like from that point on, I was able to start making music again. And now we're here in 2025, already going to be releasing it. And I'm just super excited because it's something I have been working on. But it isn't like all sunshine and rainbows. Like there was times where I was really gonna give up on that, and I was willing to accept that,
Mm.
but everything I was trying to do kept pulling me back to music.
Mm.
Like everything, everywhere I would talk to someone about like what I want to do in life, music was always finding its way to be there.
Bro, I'm glad that you actually kept hanging on to that dream because it can be easy to get like deviated from because of life. Life happens, and we just gotta keep on finding kind of like ways to like put yourself back on track. So, and you know what's crazy though? I've been around in studios and conventions and stuff around professional uh producers, audio engineers, artists, that when I ask them about, yo, when did you work on this song, bro? They say, well, man, I finished that mix like 5 years ago, and it barely came out. It, it's crazy because it's like, why is people so? And obviously it has to do with social media.
Yeah.
The consumption is so fast
Mhm.
with everybody. But honestly, look how long it took Kendrick Lamar to do another album. It was forever,
Yeah.
forever.
Mhm.
But people don't realize that when you have something that means that is meaningful, right? It's art. Art needs to take its time. Yes. And also people need to relax, man. Come on. People need to just chill it back, tone it down, and listen again to that good music and compare it to what they're doing now.
Mhm.
Because what they trying to do now is just follow trends. And then these artists last like 1-2 years, then they fall down and they never freaking stand back up.
Yeah.
So don't pressure yourself. Oh, it took me this long, bro. It's at your time. God's time is perfect, bro. And if this is your time, it's your time. You know what I'm saying? At least you're still going at it. You know what I'm saying? Which is one of the most important things. Don't stop. Never stop. And I know that you putting in the work. I've seen the videos that you're putting out. Giving people some teasers and here and there and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's a cool thing to do, man. Really
Mhm.
cool thing, bro. So let's go into a little question that I always ask because it's really close to me.
Mhm.
How's your mental health, bro?
Yeah, well that's like one of the many things that was going on in my life that I didn't realize was affecting my music.
Mm.
But it was because I'll be honest, like since music played such a huge role in my life, I felt like it was my identity.
Mm.
And when I wasn't making music, I felt like I was losing myself.
Mm.
And now that could mess you up. At least it did to me.
No,
Like
sure.
I was like doing everything else but what made me happy.
Mm.
Like cuz like when I started getting to music, I worked at Zoomies. And when I got let go of because of like COVID, I
Mm.
was able to like get back into working music, and that's when I released my album because everybody was kind of like taking a break and like enjoying like the
Yeah.
COVID pause, but I was working, like I was making songs, I was recording in my room, and then when I released it, I felt good, but then I had to like get back into getting like a job or at least figuring out how I can make money so I could fund my dreams,
Mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm.
And so while that was taking so much time away from me, I was still like working on music and kind of on the side, but I was like, I don't want to do it on the side. Like I wanted it to be my main thing,
Mm-hmm,
but
mm-hmm.
like in this kind of society, you have to work over your passion. It's unfortunate, but
Yeah.
I just had to. And so, time like life was like going by, and I just felt like that window of opportunity was losing, and it started messing with me. Like I was like, man, like I can't even finish this like song, or I can't finish this album. Like, what am I gonna do? And I'm not gonna make it on time. And I was like, you know what? Let's take a break, Steve. Let's work on a single,
Mm.
because I knew I was gonna promote it by releasing some singles before I released the album. And so that's when I made my song called TikTok.
Okay.
And that was like, oh wow, like I was like seeing how just releasing one song can get me back into the rhythm of things, because then all it took was one song, one beat, like one like structure of a rap song. That was it. Like you just had to do that, And then I mixed it all myself. That's like the one thing I'm very impressed about that song is that I mixed and
Man.
mastered that song by myself. Every other one I kind of did myself, mix and master too, but I had some help. But this one strictly, I just did all by myself.
So you actually are a producer also. You produce your own music.
Yes, sir.
That's freaking dope. That's freaking dope. I'm glad that people are doing that, man, because that we can get caught up in those intricacies and oh no, I want to keep on. No, you're doing your own sound. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty cool. So what are one of the things that you do to kind of like maintain yourself in balance?
So as like I was like kind of like figuring out that it isn't my identity, I didn't realize that until like last year. So that kind of kept continuing, and I found myself like working at a job that I didn't like, and kind of working full time. Like I just gave up on music. Like it was still there, but I was like, oh man, like this is starting to like hurt me because like I'm not doing what I want to do, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe let's get a job. Let's go back to school. Let's start taking things more serious. Let's listen to my parents, because my parents, they were supportive in my dreams, but like they were kind of like seeing like, hey man, like you're not really going anywhere with this. Let's kind of like take life serious. And so I was starting to like listen to that because I was like, you know what, I just can't do it anymore. And so the balance that I had to do was I had to get therapy. I had to get help. Like I seeked help. I also
ain't no shame on that, bro.
Yeah, and I also seek the religion as well. Like I became a follower of Christ, and so to me, that opened like so many doors because I met new people, and as I was speaking to them, because I felt like, okay, if music isn't what I'm called to do, then what is it, Lord? And so I opened that door,
man. That's beautiful.
and like I said, like when I was telling you that like everything I did was always leading me back to music, is because the job where I work at now was the area of where I learned how to make music.
Oh, wow.
And so to me, I was like, okay, maybe this is coincidence. It's a small world here. But then when I would talk to my friend who, in the middle of like when I was creating the album, he was with me, but then we actually like kind of like lost each other for like a year. And then when we reconnected, he was following God too. And then he was asking me like, hey, how's the music stuff going? I was like, I gave up on that. And he was really shocked. Like I asked him later on and he was like, yeah, I was really shocked when you told me that. Because here's someone that I thought was going to be making a lot of music and going to be a lot further than where I was. And just to find out that like it's all done, like it's over.
Wow.
And so when we had that conversation, he told me to like kind of go all in.
Yeah.
That was one thing that a friend told me, was like, how can you give up on something you never truly went all in on? Because I felt like I kind of went all in, like in the shadows, but I never put it out there. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to give it a try. And that's when I started upgrading all my gears, because now I had money to like actually do that. And then balancing. So back to that, finding therapy and finding God played a huge role in that, because it made me realize that life isn't like just about music. Like as much as I love it, it isn't my life. Like there's so much things outside of it, like seeking Christ, like the people that I affect their lives, like the young adult group I go to, or my coworkers, or my family members. Like those are the people that matter the most in music. And so what I did is, I feel like music was number one. I had to put it down. It's God, my family, music, or me, kind of like music.
No, of
music
course,
is underneath, because
no, I get it.
You gotta like see the bigger picture too. As much as I love music, like it isn't just who I am. Like I'm so many other things. Like I'm a brother, I'm a son. Hopefully one day I'll be a father. But I'm not just an artist.
Right. Nah, man, that's beautiful that you put it like that, man, because that's the best balance that you can have. You know what I'm saying? You have proper guidance, you have proper support, and then you walk the path. Saying so. Congrats to you, bro.
Thank
Honestly, I'm proud of you for that, man. Honestly, I mean, we always need to seek higher purpose in our life before doing anything and commend it to Him. Because if not, what does it matter what we do if we don't have a final vision? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So congrats to that, bro. We coming to the end, bro. That's crazy. That was fast.
Yeah, it didn't feel like it.
Bro, give out everybody your shout outs and any look aheads that you got. Obviously, when is the album coming out as well?
So August 1st, the release date. So I'm very excited. I can't wait if we can come back on here and kind of discuss like after you've listened to it.
Hell yeah, let's do that.
Because that's
I'm down.
something like I'm very excited for the whole world to hear. Just because I've been working on these songs, like you said, for 5 years, and I can't wait to release it. But I also want to thank like all the additional vocals, because I tried doing like the J. Cole stuff where I was like no features.
Yeah.
But I was like, let me get some support from my brothers and sisters. So to that, it's gonna be Jonathan. So thank you, Jonathan Fela, Premium Blush. He's also an artist.
Okay.
Monet. We also have Danielle and Catherine that helped me on the recordings of that song, Paradise specifically. And so just wanted to thank those people that helped me in that journey, and everyone else that played a role by listening to my music and reposting the stuff I've been posting as of recently, and just staying along this journey. I would have already like left a long time ago, but if you're still here since day one, like I'm glad you're here.
That's a real one, for real.
I'm glad. So I can't wait for everybody to hear, and yeah.
How they can find you on the platforms.
And so you could follow me on Instagram. I go under I am RUBIO. It's with the Y. I can go into further details on that later. But it's going to be I am and then underscore RUBYO. I think there's an underscore on Twitter, but no underscore on Instagram. And then same thing for YouTube, TikTok. And I do have a website if you want to find all of it there. It's going to be srubiomusic.com.
Alrighty, everybody. Man, thank you for coming, bro. It's a pleasure to have you here once again, for reals. And yo, everybody, you know where to find my guy here. I am RUBIO on his platforms. His new album coming out August 1st, and stick around for the 31-day challenge where he will be posting you guys on everything that he's gonna be planning to before the release of this album on August 1st. So we about to just embark into the main room and maybe figure something out. We'll see, maybe a video or a song, who knows. I'll catch you guys on the next one.